we'll try to make this bring in the same things and and replicate something like this in ArcMap. I'll show you some of the tricks about how to make a nice map. So first, we'll just open another ArcMap document. Of course, you can have a few ArcMap documents open at the same time. They will probably tell you not to, but I've never really had a problem with it. And once you get all the data downloaded in a data folder, you can, again, see it here. And when you have a shapefile, you're going to have, a whole bunch of different files associated with it. But you remember, you got to look at it in our catalog to see that it's actually a shapefile when it has the required things that go in that. When you first open ArcMap, you get this window. You can ignore it just about every time. It does have occasionally the most recent document you had open, so that can be somewhat helpful. But I usually just close that. If you don't have these windows open over here, the menu to get those back, it's these little tools here. It's catalog, and if you need the toolbox, it's up here too. But if you click on that, the catalog will open, and you can pin it, or you can just leave it unpinned and in the side and flip out. So then everybody's folder should be on their desktop. If you don't see a folder here that you need to connect to, you can click on this little plus up here, connect to folder, and then if you need to get to your desktop, it's always in your if you go to your C drive, and you go to users, and you pick your name, and then in there you'll have your desktop, and you can click on that once and then hit OK. And then I already had a connection in there, but if you didn't, you'll see now you have a little folder that's always connected there, and that's easy to forget how to do that, because once you get it connected, you don't really have to do it that often until you grab a new computer from the rack and then have to set it up again. So once you have everything downloaded and unzipped, once you're ready to use it, you can open that, and you can see that that same folder that was full of all those files is now full of just things that look like just a few different files. If you have the catalog window open and you click on the top folder, you can select more than one at the same time, and then just put all those in. So I need the MXD. So this is just stuff that I downloaded from the city's website. You can see when you bring it in, it'll bring you to the full extent of the map. I did draw a trail, so I'm going to remove that. I just right click on it, hit remove. So some of the things we got, if it's got a name like this, you might want to see if, and you don't know what it is, you might want to go down to data, view, item, description, and a good town GIS department will have filled this out. This is the metadata, but not all of them do. So they did not. POI, I know, is usually points of interest, but if you need to know, sometimes if you just look in the attribute table, you can get an idea of what it is, and you say, all right, so it's points, and it probably is points of interest, given that I can see that it's got it's all different locations of interest. I know UNE's in one of these in here. Yeah. And then this group here is all the contours, which you can see I downloaded the grids. That's all these different colors here. So one thing I'd do first is put these into groups, so there's not so many things, and I don't need to see all these contour layers. So I want to highlight them all. So I click on the bottom one, I hold Shift, and I click on the top one, and I right click on it, and I say Group, and that puts them in a group. And if I click on that once and then wait, it'll let me change the name. So contours. also, if I hit F2, it will let me edit that. So then I can kind of close that, and we'll look at those. Well, I guess just while we're on contours, one of the a nice way to see contours is like a really thin gray line. So if you click on a little line, you can get this, and then you can. It's funny, in the program ArcMap, before you export it, the thinnest a line can get is 0.4. So if you type in 0.4, 0.5 makes it just a little bit bigger. So, and then if you pick one of these medium grays, that's always a good way to show a line. You'd be surprised how much that changes how nice a map looks when it's not full black and it's actually just gray. It will be a lot less jarring when you look at it. Actually, maybe a little more less gray. And then when I make a symbol I like, I usually save it. So I hit Save As. And you don't have to give it any name. You can just hit Finish. And it will go into your list here now. So now if I wanted to apply that to all these, click, and then click, double click, double click. Okay, so now they're all gray. Now I can close that, and I don't have to worry about what they're called. And then I can zoom in. I highlighted UNE, and already looking okay. The next thing I do is pull the big polygon layers to the bottom. All right, so the town line is going to be a big one. Well, that's the bottom. Actually, I separated these out. I'll show you. And zoning, the bottom. Flood zones to the bottom. Soils are at the bottom. And then right above that would be the parcels, which cover everything. And then the FP is the building footprints, BLDG FP. You can see that, the building outlines. And then these are a couple more layers that I pulled out of the, which I'll show you how to make those. So now we got everything kind of organized in a way that makes sense, so you can at least see it. The next thing I might do is just go down the list and make a sensible symbol for each thing. So if you click on a shape and then you don't see a symbol in here that you like, you can go to Edit Symbol, and the simple ones are pretty good. They just are very limited. So if I just want to get a square and then make it kind of big and make it like a red. And then again, for outlines of symbols, it also looks good if you do like 0.4 and then you make it not the darkest black. And then I'd save that as nothing, and then it goes in the bottom of my list of symbols. So I can use it again if I want. It's going. And then the building footprints, maybe if I want to do brown, there's only one option for brown, but you can do that dark one and then go into more colors. And if you switch this to HSV, it's hue, saturation, and value, so you can change the saturation of it, which gives you more options. Like, it still stays brown, but you can make it like kind of a nicer brown. So that's all right. Save that. There, kind of looks like what a building might look like. And parcels 17SJ versus parcels is interesting. If you go to the town website, you see they give you a couple options. Parcels, just polygons. which is 2 megs about, and then parcels. Parcels with limited ownership information. A simple join will give you like the owner name and the price of the house and things like that. And you can see it's about almost double the size, and that's because it's got a huge table attached to it. The other one is just lines. So I brought them both in, but really we're just going to want to keep the one that says SJ. SJ means simple join. So with parcels, it's always better to just take the fill out and just show the outlines. So you can just make it a no color, and then make this just kind of maybe a darker gray than the contours were. And then the town line, usually you just want to show the outline of the town, so we'll make it like a big thick dotted line. So I took the fill out, and then if you go to edit symbol and you do if you go to outline then, and then you go to edit symbol again, you can do a cartographic line symbol, and then you can make it, if you go to this template tab, you can give it, every time you click one of these little things, it adds another thing in the repeated thing that it uses to symbolize the line. So you can see now it's like a dashed line, but the reason I made them so far apart is if you start making it thicker, they sometimes run together. So this one's not running together because I didn't do one extra thing, which is do round edges. So you can see now it kind of shoots out at the edges. And then you say OK and everything, and hit save that. Oh, maybe that is in the water, actually. Yeah, so the town line is actually in the middle of the bay, so that's not very helpful. So we'll just turn that off. So then a little bit of review for everybody, probably. If you go to the soils, and we want to symbolize them differently based on what type of soil it is. So you can check the attribute table and say, all right, what do I want to symbol it by? So we could just do, I guess, MU name. And then if you go in, do symbology and categories on MU name, and then hit add all values. It will just add a color for each one. And if you don't have any others, then you can just remove that if you want. And usually the first try is okay for this kind of thing. If it seems very dark, you can, what I'm doing is just double clicking on the layer name to get this properties, and go to display and set the transparency to be like 50%. And then, if you just had that on, like, that looks pretty good. And then we'll just do the same thing for flood zones and zoning, and then we'll do a couple more things. We'll be done. Again, I go to categories over here, and just do zone. Turn it off, and then we'll do zoning. Categories, pick the zoning type. I just kind of guessed at which field it was, and if you get it wrong, you can kind of pick the other one and say, all right, what's everything in there? Take that one. Okay, so now those are ready to be looked at. I'm probably gonna just make these both transparent as well. And then I'll probably give them all a different name that's better. So zoning. Again, F2, flood zones. Anything you change in here is gonna change in your legend as well. So if you make one, and then while it's live linked to this, you can just change it, and then we'll change it in the legend. Buildings. Oh, this other one is road center lines, and then points of interest. So the road center lines just kind of neat to how to symbolize these. We're gonna make a line that is thick, but you'll see, and it's thick, and it also has an outline to it. So this is a little bit more complicated. So I click on the symbol, go to edit symbol. I need to pick a cartographic line symbol, and I need to have 2 layers in this little box down here. One for the white on top, and then one for the black outline. So I'm just gonna do white, maybe like try it at 5 width, and then the one below it will make it 6 width, 7 width, so it just kind of pops out to the edge. And then make it round. And okay, and you'll see the problem with this in a second, is that it started to look kind of like a road, but the problem is that you get these little nubs here. You can get rid of those if you go to advanced, and then you go to symbol levels, and then you go to check this box, and that's all you do, and you hit OK, and then OK, and now they merge at the edges, so it doesn't look like you have multiple roads. And then I might turn the air photo on, which I'll show you guys how to connect to this if you haven't yet. This is Esri just puts out free services for stuff, and you can kind of just look at the width of the road and then just make it the actual width of the road. And then you're good. This is probably another one that you don't want to use like full on black. Just use gray, and it will look better. Even like the slightest gray will look better. Of course, when you zoom in, everything's going to change the actual width it is and the size it is on the ground. And there's a way to set that, but I think we'll just leave this at Symbology. They would be setting a reference scale, so if you ever need to do that, let me know. So the one last thing I wanted to do was label some of these things. So if you want to label the soils with what type they were, you go to the properties and say labels, and check the box on, and it will just come in with the name of them. And if you turn it on, you get labels. You probably want to do the same for flood zones. And it doesn't automatically pick the one that you colored it by, so you might have to go in and say zone, and then for zoning, label. Looks like it did pick that one. And then you get these little labels, but you can obviously change those labels as much as you might need. Okay, so that is basic symbology.